Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to our All Boards meeting. Before we begin, I'd like everyone to please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, folks. And as well, thank all the respective boards, both elected, nominated, other officials throughout the town for coming. Really, this is our opportunity for the evening to kind of really look at the rest of our fiscal year, start thinking around the overall budget planning, where we're currently at, where we want to go, give us all respectively our overall strategic options around how we can best proceed. So without further ado, I'm actually going to turn it over to T.A. Golis to give a state of the state, a brief one, before I turn it over to the other folks.
Can we limit everybody to 5 minutes?
We can limit people to 30 seconds for us. And keep it brief, everybody. Keep it brief. We got a lot to talk about.
Sign in sheet.
Yes.
Please pass that.
All right.
First up, T.A. Golis.
All right. So I got just a few quick things to go through. I just want to kind of give a quick fiscal overview. I know that typing's small, so I'll just kind of abbreviate and then I can kind of get this out to anybody who wants to see it afterward. So essentially, as we prepared for last year's budget, we were projecting around $800,000 in new growth based off our 5-year average. Once FY25 was certified, we were out $2.5 million. Big chunk of that really was the LNG plant and the Amazon new construction. So on top of that, our free cash was certified at $3.2 million, which is an increase of 1.8% over the prior fiscal year. And we did with the transfer of funds to the capital stabilization at the special town meeting, the current balance of capital stabilization is currently at about $724,000. Our current capital stabilization, or general stabilization balance is $4.3 million, which exceeds our stabilization balance goal of 4.1 on average. So even with the amended FY25 operating budget, pulling some of our excess levy into that, we still have over $1 million in excess levy capacity, so a very strong fiscal position. And right now we have 15% of our operating budget as unreserved, as undesignated balance. So again, very friendly. And just wanted to show here just the new growth by class. So you can see personal property and commercial have really dominated the last 4 years of our new growth, and how over between FY22 down to FY25, how that shift has gone as far as taking away from residential property values, shifting over to more of the commercial and personal properties. Am I going to try to summarize all this? Again, makes a lot more sense, it's much bigger, but just kind of shows the increase in valuation over the last few years and how that's really jumped. That certified free cash balance, you can see back in 2019 where that was the real low point, where we had very little in stabilization and reserve, and how we built that up over time. And then next, the assessed values have really, after 2021, we saw a big spike in the values of property throughout town. Just some other metrics around that. And then also new growth, how that jumped over time. And then just a quick highlight of some of the projects that we've been tackling over this last year. The fire station project, that's an $18.5 million project that was approved back in May. Right now, the 100% construction design is complete, and that's before both the Planning Board and the Conservation Commission. We're currently awaiting legislative approval in order to acquire the property from the Dudley-Charlton Regional School District. Basically, Mass General Law doesn't allow us to do it without that authorization, so that's working its way through the process. Right now, we're projected to go out to bid within the next few weeks, and with bids due just after the beginning of the year on January 17th. So after that, we might, we'll hope to see some progress made on that. Main Street sidewalks, kind of the beautification up front, that was a $620,000 project, funded exclusively through community partnership funds from Amazon. The project included replacement of 1,300 feet of sidewalk and the addition of another 600 feet of sidewalk to connect Charlton Elementary School over to the library, and also add some safety improvements along Main Street. So hopefully it's a good improvement to our Main Street area. On top of that, we had the ADA improvements over at Maynard Field. In total, that was about a $437,000 project, which was partially funded through a loan authorization that was done back in 2019, but primarily funded through the community partnership funding with Amazon. And that was to address the 2017 order from the Architectural Access Board. So we were able to do that without any fines or fees from ADA, so great job by everybody getting that together.
Just a quick one on that.
Yep.
Special thanks to Andrew and the Recreation Committee on that. At the very last second, there was some curveballs thrown in there from the state, and Andrew basically dropped everything along with others to make sure that we hit that in the timeline. So often what happens is that, often that a lot of this stuff goes unnoticed by people in the town because they don't see it, but that's these little things that I like to always call out, especially with like these type of partnerships. So again, very, very well done to both of you to keep us out of trouble and making sure that it's obviously ADA compliant. So very well done.
Appreciate it. And then library roof, that's been another big project. This $252,000 project that we funded through a free cash authorization that is just wrapping up through some punch list items. So hopefully, get a good, I can't say hopefully we don't get any rain because we got our wish on that. And finally, public safety radio system. This has been a multi-year project, but we used $1.3 million, essentially a $1.3 million project that we used $1.1 million in ARPA money to help improve the radio communication system for our public safety. And that, as well as $250,000 for free cash. So that included a new tower over at Bay Path, 2 new additional receive sites, and a conversion from analog over to digital on our radio system. And just a quick shout out to some of the grants that we got this year. I know not a lot, huge numbers, but any money that comes from other sources other than taxation is good. So we had a fair number, and I know this is not the entire list, but I just want to call out real quick some of the efforts that our departments do to try to really improve the programs throughout town and the efforts that you guys do. So it's definitely recognized and very much appreciated, not only by me, but by the residents who gain the benefits of these programs thanks to your hard work. So that's what I have as a quick summary of where we're at. Thank you guys. I'll kind of turn it over to you guys to give your own individual updates.
Thank you. So before we kind of do just a general round robin, that the state of the town is positive. And it's all due to all the people in this room, all those who couldn't make it this evening, the employees, especially here at Town Hall, the schools, and obviously the voters. But we have to remain eternally vigilant. Don't forget, it was just a few years ago that we were facing overrides and a lot of really difficult conversations and discussions around cutting stipends, cutting people, cutting teachers, cutting services. We're in a good spot for now. That doesn't mean that's going to be eternal. So, as we think about our next fiscal year budget, which is honestly right around the corner, I know you just already started thinking about it, that's the type of stuff that we want to start talking through, just kind of see where we are now, where we want to go. But again, kudos to everyone in this room and everyone involved for getting us in the spot that we are in. So, without further ado, Karen and Stefan, let's talk library.
We're gonna go this way for a change. Okay, I'm Stefan. I'm the chair of the trustees of the public library. As was already mentioned, the roof and gutters were repaired and replaced on the building, which is going to hopefully be tested out on Thursday. Knock on wood, we really need that rain. The trustees are in the final stage of evaluating our library director. We have our meeting on Thursday to present that. I can give you a sneak peek, it's very positive. We have been hiring new staff. Some of our previous staff had just tremendous opportunities to leave us, to take on new ventures, including becoming a library director of a facility in our neighboring Dudley. And some have moved over there as far as being much more conducive to their living arrangement of being neighbor to the library. And we have actually hired other new folks who are fitting in really, really well and are going to work out great. We have done a strategic plan, which is out in the real world for everybody to see. We had help with this. We had community help. We had meetings galore, presenting ideas, and it's a plan for the next 5 years. And it calls for some ideas that will help our library to achieve some of the goals that the citizens of Charlton are looking forward to. Some of those may require a little extra funding, but it sounds like we may be in good shape. And so one of the questions here is, what can we do to help out in this? And that's will be hopefully the support of the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee. That's it from my end of things. Well, I should mention, at the meeting where the candidates spoke, since you all weren't there, I let folks know that this was my last term on the board. At the end of this my last 3 years, I will have served for 25 years on the Library Board of Trustees, and I think it's just time for other people in the community to join in on that process. I've been very pleased and proud of what we've accomplished, from a 18th century library to a 21st century library, and continue on to hopefully into the 22nd century as well. I've been proud to serve in this capacity.
I've got a question. How many people are leaving the library?
How many people have left the library? We had one person leave the library who Nicole was assistant director, to take on the role of the library director at Dudley. While she was with us, she studied hard, earned her master's in library science, with the goal of eventually being a library director. So we wished her well, and we're sorry to lose her as a Charlton resident, but we knew it was really a great jumping point for her to move on with her goals. And then we had
She
could probably
took,
go.
so shortly thereafter, Deb Coggins left. She took a position that was also, these were all career advancements for everyone. She took on a role of sort of right-hand person to Nicole. And most recently, our wonderful children's librarian assistant also took a career, but she took a professional position as a children's librarian, so that was a big jump for her, and we're very happy for everybody. We've got a great working relationship with them. We still, chat with them almost daily. As I like to say, when people leave, the new ones come in, and I always like to say, all ships rise with the tide. So they did leave us, but they're helping Dudley, become a better library and a better community meeting space. So we couldn't be happier, and we work together.
Good, thank you.
We've got the people that came in after them are just as wonderful. Thanks, Mike. Sure.
I have a question for Stefan. So, you've been so passionate about this so many years. You seem to me as a young man and still vigorous on the library. Why would you not run again?
I'm tired.
No, I wonder how people make that
I'm
decision.
74. My wife is retired. I just actually, after 15 years of retirement from the job I had to jump back in due to the death of our executive director at Nature's Classroom. I've been there longer than I had hoped. I hoped that we'd already have somebody replacing me. But that's been an exhausting venture.
Oh, of course.
But I feel that it's also time for new blood to come in and be as passionate. Love to see somebody in their 20s come on to the,
I don't know if you're gonna get someone in their 20s, you might, maybe in their 30s or.
well, 30s is good too.
Yeah.
40s are good. Anybody 40 in here? I'll take 40.
But, so if we don't get someone in their 20s or 30s, you're still gonna run again?
No,
Yeah.
I have chosen that this is my time.
Stefan, I'd like to think I can speak for all of us and say we definitely appreciate your advocacy over the years. So I look forward to your continued interest and work at town meeting on this as well. So the other work. So,
I will always ask questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions and making sure clarity is out there. But my love of libraries stems from my 6th grade librarian, whose name was Mrs. Booker. Well, absolutely amazing. But that's when I started working in libraries, checking out books with the little stamp and little cards and putting books on shelves.
No.
No, but thank you, and to the trustees, and Karen, to you and your team as well. It's obviously one of the crown jewels here in Charlton. So, it's always great to see something new and all the different programs that you've been bringing in, so that's fantastic.
Speaking of programs.
We really had a lot of feedback when we did the data collection for the strategic plan, and it became abundantly clear that this town wants more programming and a lot of varied programming. So that's what we're working on. We've had great numbers this year. All of our numbers are up. Our through-the-door numbers, our circulation numbers, both print and digital, are up. Just library use in general, and our programming numbers have skyrocketed. So all systems go, and so we'll be looking to add some more emphasis on the teenage group, which we haven't had a chance to do because we just don't have the staff power for something like that. So we'll be turning our attention to that in the next fiscal year, as well as adding more tech-related things, makerspace type things. So we're really excited and looking forward to, making some changes based on all our community feedback. So I'd like to say thank you to everyone who participated. We had great community participation, and we really went all out for this strategic plan.
That's great news, you said, very well done. Any other questions for our friends from the library? Hearing none, you're all set. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Mr. Clay, tell us what's going on your side of the
I'm on the planning board. I'm Don Clay, I'm the chairman of the planning board currently. We've got several large projects going on in town right now. 2 very large warehouses, I'm sure everybody's seen at least one of those. There's another one going down towards the Sturbridge side of Route 20. They're still doing some groundwork there, they haven't begun the building phases of that yet, but those 2 projects alone have been enough to keep the planning board pretty busy over the last couple of years, I would say. That, in addition to several of the solar farms and energy storage systems that are going in and around town. The energy storage systems seem to be getting bigger. There's no more solar fields coming in, but that doesn't mean the ones that are still under development are completed yet. So there's that going on there. Several large subdivisions still progressing through all phases of their construction. A new subdivision was approved this year that took quite a bit of work. We've probably been working on it for over 2 years now to get that through and pushed through. So that's going in off of 31 down by the depot in Curtis Hill. So I would expect construction probably starting on that in the spring, and that'll go for multi years to get that through. The biggest thing we've probably got going soon is putting together a new master plan committee. Our master plan is currently, it's over 14, 15 years old. We really need to update that and bring that back into date and really look at forward planning and see what we can do. So the RFP is out. We're looking for some help from some organizations. We're also looking for some of the citizens in town to join the master plan committee and see if we can grow the town in the right direction and get the development where we need to be and get all the services that are necessary to do that. So look forward to that coming out within the next couple of months and as we get started on that. And if anybody's willing to help out or interested, we'd love to have you on that committee and see what we can do.
No, thanks, Don. And kudos to you for often putting the agendas out there, out on social media. I think that's a big help for people.
Right,
to
that's
have
one
that.
way that I can do it.
Yeah, that's
You
great.
know, it keeps people from having to search for it, but it keeps people aware.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we have also another large housing development off of Main Street that we're working on right now. That definitely has some environmental challenges to it, but that's, 33 units of townhomes right on Main Street to help with some of our residential housing issues that we might have in town, so.
Gotcha.
Those are some big projects.
No, thank you, Don, I appreciate that. Any questions or concerns for Mr. Clay?
I just have a question.
Sure.
When do you typically meet for the planning board?
Planning board meets on Wednesday, the first and third Wednesday of the month. We're both on YouTube, Zoom or in person. Love to have people show up and just, kind of hang out with us. Keeps us quick.
Just like the old days.
Yeah. Not that many.
It's posted. You do a good job posting it.
Yeah, we'll try to get that out there.
Yeah.
One-
Right.
One more quick question, Steve. The housing project on Main Street, is any of that low income?
I don't believe it is. It's not coming in as a 40B. What the rents on it would be, I don't know, but I know that the plan is to be rental units. But what income level, I don't know.
Okay, thanks.
We definitely need some housing, some workforce housing.
You said
so.
40, you
Yeah,
said
I believe 40.
units?
Was it?
I think it is 40-something units, yeah, so it's quite a large development.
Which may impact school systems at some point.
Which may,
So, as well as public safety and everything else.
That's coming, even, that's just one housing development.
Yeah.
And the one over in Curtis Hill is probably about 70 homes that will go over the next
Yeah.
4 or 5
So remember,
years.
folks, we're growing.
Yeah.
45 miles of square, 45 square miles of land, not very few of it has been developed. And land is relatively cheap when you're comparing it to 495 East. So the idea that we are going to stay this bucolic farmland is not going to be true unless we work through the master plan, make significant changes, and figure out what we want to be when we grow up. So again, just thinking
Going through
long
those
term.
plans now.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big deal. Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don, I appreciate it. Next up, our friends from Water Sewer.
Yes, Russ Jennings, Water and Sewer. Tonight we have our new managing director with us, Cheryl. We reorganized our department this year with the help of Andrew to save the taxpayers over $1 million over the next 10 years in just personnel costs. And we thought it was the direction that the board wanted to go in. It would best serve the community in that fashion. Who doesn't like tax cuts as a resident, right? So that's what our board has always been about, and trying to head in that direction, keep things as affordable as possible for everybody. Couple big projects that we continue to work on. We call it the school loop. Headworks project, which was just on the fall town meeting. And a couple other small little water main issues, and always trying to tweak a system that was never truly meant to be here, so.
Russ, can you speak up a little bit on that? Because that school loop
Sure.
fire thing, because now it's going into the fire station part. And that's-
Right. So, originally, as you may or may not know, the school loop, which goes all the way around the schools, was designed to alleviate the pollution that was, or contamination from a lot of the wells, from ExxonMobil, who put in the loop. But being that we're drafting our water from Southbridge, it's very, very complicated to not run into major problems when people actually draw the water. So having the water in the pipes isn't necessarily an issue. Getting it out of it and keeping the what's called water age down to a minimum is where we struggle because of the length of the pipe in the system. So it's very complicated.
What do you think the long-term, the real long-term solution is? We gotta dig up the road?
No, the pipes are in place. It more or less really comes down to trying to balance it out with, water towers, if you can just visualize that as one of the solutions. Because what happens is, we have a very low point that when it draws for water, it sucks it away from the high point being Bay Path. So now when the water is replaced back in the system, all that water creates what's called the water hammer. It comes together and it wants to smash things, whether it's pipes or pumps and things like that. And naturally, the last thing we can have is a school without water. So again, it's very complex, but we think we have some good solutions in the pipe. Andrew's been helping out with that, like he has with all the boards, and so we're using Andrew to help us through a lot of this, and we think we have some good stuff going.
Andrew's a champion, there's no doubt. But so the $800,000 that was spent last fall, town meeting,
Yep.
for the land on off Route 20.
Yep.
Has anything moved on that, or is that still?
No, so that property hasn't closed yet, but we are.
Oh, it hasn't closed?
Right. So that property, again, is something that we're sort of putting in our tool bag so that somewhere down the road, we may or may not use that, but once that property was sold to somebody else, it's no longer an option for the town. And it was a really big potential solution for the problem of the Oxford side of Route 20 with the water supply and also potentially the sewer supply. It comes down into what direction you're dumping your sewer and your water off in, and that's why we could never get water from Oxford. Originally, when they put the pipes in, they said, oh, we're gonna run the pipes from Oxford and get water from Oxford. And then, once they did that, and, they didn't really consult anybody, we found out later that you can't take it from one water supply and discharge into another.
Different watershed.
No, yeah.
Interesting.
Watershed, yeah.
So that sort of eliminated that whole water line coming from Oxford. and just-
So for right now, it hasn't been closed, the town doesn't, the Charlton Water Sewer Commission does not own that property.
Not as of yet. I mean, there's contracts in place and everything, but it just hasn't, I don't think the final ink has been drafted on it, that's all. It is in process.
Thanks, Russ, and sure, welcome to the show officially.
It's just, it's a lot of money. No, and thank you, yeah, and welcome, yeah.
It is a lot of money, but really, as far as the town goes, having property like that, it's never gonna lose the money on the property, because if at some point in time, the town did decide that they weren't interested in doing anything with that property forever, on the water and sewer side, maybe some other municipal side, whether it's athletic department or something like that could use it. And then from there, even if that wasn't an option, just outright sale.
I was gonna say, some little capital appreciation, I read that somewhere.
Right. It's money in the bank for the town.
Yeah.
So, in a form of way.
No, thank you for that, Russ, I appreciate it. Questions for Mr. Jennings or Cheryl? Oh, Jerry.
Created any real water supply for the town water?
So that is one of the properties that we just talked about. The other is Buffinville, which we did secure a number of years ago. And we're always looking for another potential one on the maybe Spencer side of Charlton. But with natural contamination in the ground, other pollutants, spills, which we're actually every couple years, we're finding a new one in Charlton. So we're always looking for potential sources just to have, again, in the tool bag, just in case town of Charlton needs it somewhere down the road. That's all.
That's good. Good. Thanks, folks. Thanks, folks. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah.
Ms. Markey, always nice to see you.
Hi,
Good.
you too. Debbie Markey, head of the Keep Charlton Beautiful Committee. We're a committee under the Board of Health, and we're a chapter town of Keep Massachusetts Beautiful. And we promote recycling, anti-littering, and beautification in the town. We had a very good year with the Recycling Dividends Program, which is our yearly push to do some jobs and things that the state would like us to do to promote recycling. And we get points for that, and then the points equal dollars. So this year, the money hasn't come in yet, so we don't know exactly how much we're getting. But we're hoping that we doubled what we got last year, which was about $1,200. So we'll find out probably this month or next month. So we have, we would like new members anytime anyone would like to join our committee. We meet on the second Monday of the month at the Charlton Library, 4:30 to 5:30. And so the RDP, the Recycling Dividends Program, that's our big thing that we do every year. But we also take part in the Earth Day, Blueberry Festival, we have a table. Old Home Day, we have a place in the gazebo. So we keep trying to put our recycling products out to the public so that they can see ways that they can either compost or recycle or contain litter. We had a project this year with the green, we created a green team at the middle school, and Erin Anderson was the one who did that. And that's part of the state DEP program, which is green teams across the state, having children get more involved in these recycling, anti-littering issues. And so I know that recently we helped the middle school go get a bunch of composters that were being given to the schools in the state and brought them to her at the middle school for her school. They also did a great project of making classroom composters with their STEM group in middle school, and that they had a nice ceremony at the end of that in I think June of this year. We will miss, by the way, Kara Himlowski at the town hall very much, because she helped me every year get our grant finished, which was a big job. And Mary is, thank goodness, still there, and she will help us sell our products in the town hall too, and many other things. And the Board of Health has been nice to say that they will now assist me with the Recycling Dividends Program grant. So the two women there will help do that. The other thing that we thank Andrew very much for is the Spencer Transfer Station agreement that was made when Casella's stopped having Charlton residents have that great program in Oxford to bring their trash in. Everything was very reasonable. So Andrew was able to help the Irene Cogden at the state put together a pay-as-you-throw grant so that Charlton residents have that option too. Other than, I know some people take their trash now to Webster. They have a open program. The Spencer program is very nice, but we would really like to see more Charlton residents take part in it. I was thinking of, and I mentioned this to the Board of Health, having a video done of showing where it is and what it looks like and what you do when you go there and the kind of things that they allow, and they do have a lot to offer. So I will be trying to get that off the ground before the snow falls. So I think that's about it.
No, I think it's big. I think yours is a prime example of a board that is made of unsung heroes that often go underneath the radar. But if your board went away or committee went away, all you'd hear is, hey, why don't we have a group that does X, Y, or Z? And so you're that X, Y, or Z, and I want to show, even though you don't necessarily get all the press, you're very much appreciated. Because if you weren't here, we'd be in a lot more trouble. So again, thank you and your colleagues for that.
Thank you. Kathleen is a big part of it too also.
Well, Kevin's a big part of everything. We can't be any questions for Deborah? Again, thank you very much. Oh, no, we got one back?
It's not really
Oh,
a
sorry.
question, but I thought it had closed, Russ, so I just wanted to check with upstairs, but the 27-acre parcel did close for 8/16 October. So it is closed, we have the deed upstairs. So,
Okay,
The piece of property closed, that's what we're saying.
yes, for
Thank
the
you.
sewer, yes.
The one you were on.
very good. Thank you.
I love good news at these meetings. Because I'm about to get bad news from the Council of Aging. Talk to me, people. No, I'm kidding. What's going on? Yeah.
Should you want to speak? Do you want me to?
So then the town bought it?
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
I'm Michelle Drum. I'm the relatively new Council on Aging Director here at the Senior Center. I have Mike Zareski and Jim Howard, also on the Council on Aging members here with us today. Spent my first few months getting to know everybody and the systems in place, and we had an empty seat on the board, which has been filled by a retired Senior Center Director, wonderful asset and for us, Sheila Chmielewski. She's been fabulous. Our chair is also a retired Senior Center Director as well, so lots of experience on the board, very helpful to have. We had an unexpected event with the sudden illness of our cook, Ken Goudreau. He gave us maybe a week before he became ill, notice that he was going to be retiring in November, so he was giving us like close to 3 months' notice, which was wonderful on his part to give us that kind of heads up. Unexpected to say the least when he became gravely ill, literally the week after he gave his notice. So we had to set out to figure out what we were going to do with our meal program, because he was the cook 2 days a week here, and everybody loved Ken's cooking. And the place, nothing to say ill of Tri-Valley, but, Tri-Valley meals are, kind of institutional type meals. But then when Ken cooked, the place was alive, with everyone's like, it's a Ken day. So with Andrew's support, it's an Andrew night, with Andrew's support.
It's not his contract year, it's okay.
He supported us in having a partnership. We just have a signed contract this week with Overlook. So Overlook is now providing us 2 meals a week, and we expected it to be just kind of like 20 meals or something a day when they were here, but it's grown larger than that. So in order to keep Overlook, we are making one day a hot meal day at Overlook here, Overlook Cooking, and then the other day is going to be kind of a lighter lunch, so that we can keep Overlook here for those 2 days. Our turnout has been like not 20 to 25 like we expected. It's been 40, 50, 60, so it's been a lot larger than we normally have had. So as we have said, we're kind of like been a victim of the success of that program. So we've also gone out to improve our programming over the, so our numbers have gone up, both duplicated and unduplicated counts, meaning the number of individuals coming in the door for programs or services, in addition to like how many times does that individual come in the door. So both of those numbers are up quite astronomically. So we're very happy with our growth. And that being said, we are very active with our Senior Center feasibility study committee right now. We are looking currently at trolley crossings. There's a property there that was occupied by the hospital medical group there, St. Vincent's, and it would not be initially they were looking at, let me just backtrack, initially they were looking at a brand new build, which was had with it, of course, a very large price tag. Now, this particular property that we're looking at is already, if the building is like 5 years or less, I think, in age. It has ample parking, it's flat ground, and it even has like electric car hookups in the parking lot, and plenty of room in the back for this, plenty of room for activities in the back. So we're looking at that property currently, and we have outgrown this building clearly, and we hope, our goal is to hopefully ask for the support moving forward next year with potentially that property. That's what we're actively looking at it now. Yeah.
Yeah, so when we think about capital planning, this is a perfect example of, as Andrew mentioned, around our capital stabilization fund.
Well, I'd like
Types of things
I'd like
we
to
might
add
fund.
on to her. I realize that there are 5,000 senior centers in Charlton.
Seniors. No, well, there's
Seniors, not the center. 4,000, I've always been corrected, you know, and that's a lot of people. And we want to bring them to us, because they deserve it. We got everybody, you know, the veterans, the seniors and everything else, and men and women, seniors. But we want them to come to us. And the only way we can get it is if we have good transportation for some, and then also we have to give our arms open and make it a better senior center. And hopefully we can get more seniors to come every once in a while. You know, they don't have to come every day because we'd be crowded up.
Bring them all to the town meeting, powerful vote.
That's right.
If I could just add, I'm Don Konopacki, I'm also on the feasibility committee. And just to give a little bit more, because Michelle was a little bit late to the game, so I can give you an idea of what happened prior to it. So we were looking originally as it being a combination community center, senior center, because we were looking specifically at the 4 Dresser Hill property to be used as a new combination center. We interviewed, I believe it was 7 different firms who went through and did the feasibility study for us. And eventually we went with what was the cheapest of the 4 things they showed, and we had them go forward. And I think the cost between April, when they first presented it, and September went up by 3 or 4 million in just a few months. And we came to the decision that it was something that really, we didn't think it would ever get past town meeting. And so by now having it no longer the Dresser Hill property, that freezes up to just be a senior center versus a combination center. So having the 4 Dresser Hill property remain, and I'll talk about that later on, opens up the opportunity to just have a standalone senior center rather than trying to do 2 things into one. So.
Thanks, Don. Mr. Howard, anything you want to add?
I always thought the price tag was way too high for Dresser Hill, so I'm glad to hear we're going in a different direction.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Michelle,
So is there an immediate problem, or we need a new chef?
Well, what it is.
From what I understand, right? We need a new chef.
I'm sorry, want me to handle it?
No,
Right now, we would like to remain with Overlook in terms of the chef, you know, in Andrew's infinite wisdom, trying to reduce employee costs, reduce benefits package, and have solid numbers where the number isn't like, well, you know, we got a shop this week, every time we go to the Big Bunny, we're going to Big Bunny and things, the cost was ridiculous. Like for instance, we're also changing, like the bottles of water, we're not gonna have anymore, because that's way too expensive. I'm changing to a cooler, we're gonna have a, you know, Poland Spring delivered or whatever, rather than the water bottles, because I'm just looking at prices and certain things that we do can be done more, you know, with budget in mind. So we're not going to be hiring that cook position. We're taking that money and rolling it into the overlook because the meals are, it's a set budget.
And I'm sorry, I really haven't caught up with this, and I don't think a lot of people in this room have. So the Overlook brings all the meals here to the seniors?
2 days a week, 2 days a week, yeah.
2 days a week?
Yep, Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's chef prepared Overlook, and it includes the transportation over here. They plate it, and then they leave, and then they pick up they send a truck and pick up the Cambro.
But when we had a full-time chef here, how many days a week were the seniors available to have meals?
Same 2 days, it was same 2 days.
It was still 2 days?
Yeah.
It was still 2 days, okay.
Yeah, but it's Monday and Wednesday is Tri-Valley, so we have a lower attendance on Tri-Valley days and incredible attendance on Overlook days.
Yeah.
I'd like to add one thing.
Please.
I used to be on the board of Tri-Valley, and, you know, they had kind of a bad rap in the past on these Tri-Valley meals. So I suggested, and hopefully it's been followed up, that we have the person who's in charge of this at Tri-Valley come over here and speak to not only the board, but to all the people and tell them about the upgrade, because there's no charge for the food coming from Tri-Valley, saving the town a lot of money.
And I just think that we always try, we talked about it, to find a way to connect with them, you know, with the Overlook. Because they always were wanted to be more open, you know, for our seniors and seniors living in the town. So I think that's a great way of building that relationship. And it could be only a beginning. Imagine the pool and
Right.
the gym.
And we've
And the
got
brewery?
Overlook folks
Wait, I'm sorry.
Overlook folks come here for activities, which I was a little surprised about. I thought everything was kind of self-contained up there, and I'm sure it is, and they have wonderful services and activities and everything. But sometimes, you know, you just need a change of scenery to get out and look at a
It's a
different
great
set of walls.
collaboration, and they are
make-
seniors too.
Yeah, absolutely. There are seniors and to make new friends, you know.
Absolutely. Don, yes?
Yeah, and to partially address Stephen's question with regard to the need, my understanding is part of the reason why we're even looking for it is because the town needs the space where the senior center is now currently, needs the space
Here.
for its expansion on other departments that are in here. So part of the idea is not only to have better space for the seniors, but to also free up the space for the town so it can have all of its municipal offices either increased or any new offices that need to be made, so to make improvements to town hall itself.
I have seen that space, it's wonderful. I'm looking forward to it. It's perfect.
Thank you. And Michelle, thank you again to you and the team.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
I've heard nothing but great things. And by the way, I also love your social media posts. Those are also.
Oh, thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you. I hope everybody saw the seniors playing field hockey out there with pool noodles on the common. There's something, I just wanted to say one more thing if I could. There is a stress level going on in this time of year with you know, mental health awareness. Massachusetts has a new Mass Medline that's available for mental health awareness. So I'm trying to see if I have that number with me, but I want to make sure that, oh yes I do. Massachusetts Behavioral Health Helpline. It is not just for seniors, it is for everyone in Massachusetts. It'll give you direct access to clinical help. You can call or text, and the number is 833-773-2445. This number is now available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, including holidays. So if anybody that's listening out there or in the room is in need of any mental health support, like I said, it's for anyone. It's not just seniors. It's for any Massachusetts resident. 833-773-2445.
No, thanks for that, Michelle, especially during the season with
Yes.
everything getting darker.
Very
Obviously,
much so.
there can be a certain
Seasonal
amount of
affective disorder.
loneliness around holidays when you're not around family.
Yes.
So it's,
And I know half the population's very stressed about the political climate, so
you know, the other
Well,
other half's happy.
in fairness, the selectmen's races are very controversial. So I can see why that's probably not-
Yeah.
No, it's no nothing.
Yeah, thank you.
No, I didn't mean to do a lot.
Any other questions for our friends on the council meeting? Hearing none, let's talk. School
All right,
committee.
School committee.
My favorite people.
Kelly Zella, I am chair of school committee this year. In this room is Nicole Enberg, Kathy Carmignani, and Joe DeSantis, who is actually our new director of finance and operations.
Oh, hey, Joe.
Yep.
So,
I'm half deaf. 'cause-
oh, you want me to speak up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we didn't, yeah, we didn't already.
Okay. Well,
If you
first
could.
of all, I just want to mention how proud we are to support the fire substation.
Thank you for that. I
That
just
is-
mentioned Andrew to send a thank you note, so thank you.
Exciting, yeah, so, you know, we're glad to be able to provide that land over there to make that happen for the town, certainly.
Greatly
needed.
appreciate it.
So, you know, and I'm glad to see that we'll start to go out to bid and all the wheels are rolling on that, so, we're definitely, happy about that. As you can imagine, our fiscal year for 2026 is underway. You know, we are entering contract negotiations currently now, with the unions.
Both the teacher and para, or just teacher?
This year is teacher, teachers union this year. And looking into health insurance, options so that we can obviously, we wanna keep our costs down as much as we can, but as we know, we look at all the trends around us, so, you know, we'll see where things fall with that, for the fiscal year 26. We did have some district reviews that the information is posted on the website. We had 2 reviews done. One was a resource use review, that was completed in June by Education Resource Strategies. And the other was a facilities condition assessment report, which was also done in June by Habib and Associates. Basically, that gives us the information that we'll be looking at to move forward with I'm gonna say a 5 to 10 year plan. Unfortunately, some of those, our capital work is estimated in Charlton pretty high, roughly about 50 million. You know, and again, we're looking at a timeline to kind of stretch that out, but these are gonna be needs that
Estimated
are
at 52 million?
coming down the line between the Charlton Elementary School and the Heritage
I
School
bet you're half
mostly.
off on that number.
Is that inclusive of Shepherd Hill? Do you
No,
remember? Okay.
Yeah.
no, that's separate, right? That's.
No, well, of course
the
it
fif-
would. Why wouldn't it?
Well, it was done, all of them, yes. I'm only bringing forward like the amount of the
Yeah.
Charlton side.
Oh,
The whole
52
report-
million is just Charlton?
The
then,
whole,
or-
yes, the whole report is on the site, so you can read through the
Yeah,
entire
I'll
thing.
definitely check that out, thank you.
But there is some
Yeah, because we haven't touched Charlton Elementary in how long?
It's been a long time, and unfortunately, I think, the Heritage School, when it was built, there was
Yeah.
some construction that, is failing us now. That will absolutely need to be addressed, so the price tag is pretty high, but, yeah, I can get you the numbers, I can forward you the report for confirmation, but it is a pretty high price tag. But again, our capital and safety subcommittee will be reviewing that and putting out a 5 to 10 year plan, kind of baby steps so we can get some of it done. Obviously, it's at the most important, you know, safety things and work our way down as far as what we can do, but, other than that, we'll be updating our district improvement plan this school year as well, because that's up for renewal, so, you know, we're in the workings of reviewing the past and seeing, you know, where we're gonna move forward with the improvement plan as well, as far as in the district goes, but.
Yeah, real quick, because obviously the Shepherd Hill thing did not pass. And how does that affect where we are in possible state reimbursement for building? Is it for all projects in town, or just for the Shepherd Hill where we're at the bottom of the list?
Well, that was a separate process. So obviously there are needs that need to be filled at Shepherd Hill, but I do believe, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know, that they'll be looking to reapply for that MSBA study again, in the near future because.
So, well, if I can, so Dudley Charlton Regional School District applied for 10 years to get that grant to do a feasibility study on redoing Shepherd Hill. It got passed down every year. The year they finally got up to it, Dudley shot it down. So now that money's gone. Now we're at the bottom of the line, maybe not the bottom, but
Yeah.
maybe a third way up the middle of the ladder, but we're nowhere. That's a $150 million project, easy.
And that was kind of my question, does that affect, does the district's refusal to pass it affect just the Charlton portion of it for other schools? So,
Well, I can answer that in one quick question. I can answer that. If the 50-year-old boilers at Shepherd Hill fail, that's a $2 million hit easily. They got to knock the walls down and move those boilers out. I did the tour. That's split between the two, between Dudley and Charlton, evenly. It's not even a.
that's not my question.
Right, John, I was gonna say, I believe the question is, and correct me where I go astray, is based upon the failure of passage for the regional system.
Right.
If the town of Charlton, on its lonesome, were to apply for state aid for Charlton Elementary, Charlton Middle, Heritage, et cetera, would that negative vote by the regional have a negative vote, or a negative perspective on the state's view of Charlton?
Not even that, are we allowed to?
Yeah, are we even allowed to do it?
Are we even allowed to do it?
Ms. Curran.
From what I know, and Joe, you could probably correct me if I'm wrong, we should be allowed, we're gonna be allowed to go ahead and
That's what I thought.
apply.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, they're gonna look at the data. It wasn't Charlton that said no.
Mhm.
So I think, you know, and unfortunately, Dudley said no, because it was also coming at the same time as an override.
Yeah.
And I think our seniors just
I mean,
couldn't think ahead to, they couldn't afford it.
No, I definitely look forward to taking a look, and thank you for letting us know about the capital study, because clearly between that and a lot of our infrastructure work, I know a couple of years ago, we had something around some of our bridges and other culverts, et cetera, that also need to be replaced. We're looking at a lot of money that we may have to spend in the future, so we're gonna have to be very diligent and vigilant about what we actually save for and spend our money on. Like we were saying around the senior center, by having that capital stabilization fund, it allows us a little more leeway to looking at certain options. But let's not fool ourselves into thinking that we have an endless trough of money. We're gonna have to prioritize. And to me, it's always been public safety first, schools close second. So after that, it starts to fall off. So we gotta figure out how the senior center fits into that as well. So again, thank you for that, for the capital plan. I think that's a huge thing. And I know we're gonna be probably meeting over the next few months. I'm not gonna even dare to ask you or Joe about what we're looking at for overall increases this year at this point. But anything you can do to especially think through your health insurance costs, because I know the past few years, that's been a huge hit to you, which has also obviously been a huge hit to us consequently. I think that the earlier we get that type of information, the better off, but the more dialogue that we can proceed with this upcoming fiscal year, I think the easier off, Kathy, I know especially like in your world, I mean that nicely, through Dudley, that the more we can all get on the same page early on, I think the better off we'll be.
Right.
And again, Joe, welcome to the show. Additional questions for, oh, Kelly, if you have one, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, I think our hope is to, before the end of the year, be able to provide you, I mean,
cool.
obviously we won't with state numbers, but
Yeah.
to provide you with
We won't hold you to
an
it, don't worry.
idea. Yeah, a little early, as soon as we can, we will, because we know we like to get it as early as possible, so we will try to get that information to you as soon as possible, but, did you have anything else? No, and we know, like, last year, I think, Dudley took almost 900,000 out of stabilization to go into the budget, to make sure that we were able to have a
That
budget.
was the year after the
override, yeah.
potential 50% payoff for Shepherd Hill from the state. That was the year after that. Right.
But anyways, we know that it's tight for them as well, and everyone, we need to keep to a line,
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we have to balance fiscal conservatism with obviously, their students have needs.
Yeah.
And we can't just cut the schools every year. I mean, at some point, we have to say, all right, we gotta figure something else out.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate the support.
I'm not saying give it a big increase, let's be honest here, I mean.
I understand.
Any other questions for our school committee colleagues, or Joe for them? Hearing none, we're good. Thank you always for coming. Joe, nice to meet you. Don, talk to me.
Okay, so we've already covered the senior center portion, so I'll do the other two committees I'm here representing. I'll start off with the activities committee over at 4 Dresser Hill. We had a decent year. We've run several programs. We've had our usual Blueberry Festival. We did the annual Trunk or Treat. The Patrick Ryan Players had 2 plays performed. Then there was also I believe there was a lecture of some sort done, and there's the Girl Scouts meet there. And in addition, I know the Irish Step Dance School that's there had some sort of statewide little program that they had over there. And that's kind of what kind of programs. The good news for the town is that the activity center doesn't cost the town anything. We're entirely self-sufficient unless something serious happens to the property. And we just came up with the magic number. I believe it's 3,000, Andrew? Yeah, so if there's something to the property like a major need for the property over in excess of 3,000, then the town would be responsible for taking care of that part. But otherwise, all the day-to-day operation, we self-fund. And our biggest problem is that we have absolutely no help. And we are getting to be the second senior center in that everyone on our committee are senior citizens. And except for one, and I won't make any comments on that, but we would like to have more volunteers come, especially younger people. It's pretty tough. I'm not quite to 70 yet, but I see it on the horizon, and I'm still the one who's lugging a lot of stuff around. And younger people kind of, I don't know why they don't want to help, but we are really looking for some help with regard to that. But for now, we are self-sufficient. The second is the Bandshell Committee, and very pleased that we have had the $350,000 released to the town for the building of the bandshell. Our intent is to not need anything else from the town and to work within that budget. At the same time, we had contacted the Massachusetts Cultural Council, and they have a facilities fund, and based on conversations I've had, we would appear to be eligible for a $200,000 grant, so that we can probably have, if we get the grant, obviously, the fact that we qualified and the person thought we had a good chance doesn't mean we're going to get it. But this would allow us some extra leeway with regard to making sure we can do things such as having improvements to the ground in the sense of any particular things that physically have to be done to how the terrain is. We're kind of fortunate that the way that the bandshell would sit, it already tilts down towards there, and so I think there wouldn't need to be a real lot of work on the grounds themselves. We did get an idea of what it might cost based on the feasibility study. We kind of rolled that into a phase 2 part, just so we could get the numbers. The numbers they came up with the bandshell, to construct the bandshell was $420, which is more than the $350, but we would look to first get a grant to make sure we can build the original idea, and if it can't, we'll make it come within the $350 that we're got. So we don't intend to go to the town for any extra money. And so that's kind of where we're sitting there. Andrew's been really great. He's going to be up, because everyone has to say something nice about Andrew. So he's been real great help with regard to that now, where he's taken writing the grant off of my hands, and I'll give him some information that's necessary, but he'll pursue the grant, and then he's gonna start figuring out how we're gonna get an architect to get that. So that's where we're looking at now.
Thank you for that, Doug. Steve?
I remember the early talkings and discussion with Amazon about the band shop. And so 350,000, 400,000 square foot band shell would attract how many people? Could potentially attract how many people?
Don, we're talking about the overall size of the band shell and what the expectation of the number of people who could.
So it's one of those
utilize
things
it.
that does kind of depend.
Yeah, it depends on.
And obviously, there are many things that it could be used for. For example, certainly Shepherd Hill and the other schools
Oh, yeah.
can use it for
Oh,
concerts.
yeah, of
So
course.
that's something where that would attract a lot of people to that sort of thing. With regard to how many people show up in events we've had at the activity center, we've had bands come. We have a maximum occupancy of about 63 people, and we have had things in the past where we couldn't fit everyone who wanted to go in. My guess is if it's something really, really good, like we had a Rocking the 50s concert where we had people from the Flamingos and the Four Satins appear, and that one was totally sold out, and we had to turn people away. There have been other things where we've had our open mic people have run little concerts, and they've gone anywhere from 20 people to, once again, overflowing, depending on the popularity of the particular groups that go. And with regard to, that's an interesting thing with the fund, part of the questions they do ask from the state is, how will it affect tourism, specifically people coming from 50 miles or more away?
Yeah.
And so, luckily, I have some data on that we do have people who have come from further away. You know, we've had people from the Boston area come, as well as people from Springfield area, some people from New Hampshire, I know came to some stuff, and Connecticut. So if there's something good, we can attract. And there's a lot of programs that could also come through that, such as having festivals. Obviously, the Blueberry Festival, we could use that stage. I'll just mention, so I can be made fun of by Bill again about having a ukulele festival.
I had teed up. I had it teed up.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things like that. In the past, we used to do things with the kids, the teenagers who had bands. Since COVID, we haven't done anything with them, and I kind of lost the contacts because they all graduated. But we would have places where, times where they would have 5 or 6 of the bands from the local schools come, and we couldn't let everyone in, and there was people out. So there is the potential to have a lot of people, depending on what the program is.
No, I love it on the front end. And my question was more about, since Russ is here, it's more on the sanitary end. So is this all porta potties at this point?
Well, I'm wondering.
Seriously, or
Yeah.
is there sewage on that road that we can?
It's a tough subject. It's probably their more immediate needs would be porta potties.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah. And my guess is, well, one thing I'd like to take a look to is see if we can put in composting toilets in there as a possibility versus having, strictly sewer lines.
It's
And
great
there-
to have a band shell. I want a band shell, but I know people get about people peeing in the woods.
Yep.
And the all boards is just something.
That's Stephen's biggest
That was
Like,
the
John,
easiest
you've been
way
very
I could
selfless
put it.
with all your volunteerism, especially over there, so I just want to say thank you. I mean, you know, again, Pasture Town Players, fantastic event. If you haven't gone, definitely go check it out. Kelly, I'm sorry. did you
I
say
was
something?
just gonna let you know that, the bands, we have a new band, well, I'm not a new band teacher at the middle school, and they did get a grant for ukuleles, so they are practicing over there.
Okay.
Just to make everybody happy.
You're like a virus.
Just wanted to share
Utilize
that.
that. No, seriously, no, thank you very much. Any questions for Don?
I just want to point out that Boston has free Shakespeare in the Park, and
Yeah, I was
also
gonna
have her porta potties, and it has no problem for any of
Oh,
the
I'm not
hundreds
saying
of
there's
people
an
in
issue
there.
with them. I'm just
So,
wondering if- yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure porta potties will be just fine for the sanitary purposes.
Thanks, Don.
Yeah.
Thanks, Don. Diane, thank you once again for stepping up. Oh, I'm sorry, Jerry, go ahead.
Just a quick question on the shell, when it's, we'll just say, when it's completed, how many people could it contain? In other words, we have a band, and how many people could be sitting out there?
How many people can you fit in roughly an acre of land?
So.
So you could.
In the band.
Oh, in the band
Jerry,
shell?
A fair amount on the grass.
Inside of the
A
shell.
smaller amount as part of the band or
Yeah.
folks out top.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to put $500,000 into having 20 people show up. I want to see a lot more people than that show up. so.
Well, you're not paying the money. We have the money and it can only be spent on a band shell.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
so you can either say, I don't want the band shell, so we're gonna throw away the 350,000.
Oh, no,
for it,
no, no,
or-
no, no.
That's not, I don't want
Yeah.
to go through all this with only 20 people. I'd like to have a place that you can handle 200 or 300 or 400 people at the same time.
Yeah, that
Not at
wouldn't
every
be a
event,
problem.
I don't mean every event, but that's what we could put there.
Yeah.
Bill it, they will come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's our own little version of Tanglewood.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, thanks, Don, I really
Yep.
appreciate it. Diane, I know you got suckered into coming in for yet another term for recreation, so again, brought my heart, thank you for that. But,
I'm done in May.
That's what they all say. Go on, but please, Diane.
As Diane Doherty, Recreation Commissioner. We've been busy this year. Happy to announce the Recreation Commission worked with Charlton Middle School to resurface and reline the existing tennis courts, creating lines for pickleball use. The townspeople have been asking for some time for pickleball locations, and due to our lack of areas to be developed, we chose this as a great compromise. Scout Adam Ridlack was working on his Eagle Scout project, and he also added some benches, a storage bin, pickleball supplies for the public, as well as equipment for the school to use. He purchased additional equipment for the school to use for their gym program. It's been crazy busy down there. If you take a ride down, check it out at the middle school. But we're excited. We had our grand opening August 10th, and it was very well attended, and it's been busy since then.
I hear it's consistently booked.
Yeah, you can go on Playtime Player, it's on our website, it's on the Recreation page website, so it tells you how to access the information, but it's great. Please check it out, though, if you haven't gone down there. Maynard Field, Andrew went over that a little bit, major construction as well, with a new snack shack and paving to the fields, areas to make it more compliant. Again, Andrew, thank you for seeing that project through. We really needed your help on that one, and we really appreciate it. Facebook page has been created by Commissioner Sherry Zanka. It's called the Dudley Charlton Adult Recreation Co-ed Volleyball. I know it's a mouthful, but if anyone's interested, they play December to June on Fridays at the Heritage School. And you can reach out to her on Facebook or through the town's webpage. Her information is there. People need to register ahead of time to play, and the games are held on Fridays, like I said. If you're looking for some fun and exercise, that's a way to do it. Future projects for 2025, I know Don talked about the band shell. We're really excited to join forces and get this done. As well as the kids are looking for a Gaga pit. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but.
I don't even know what that is.
Gaga pit. It's pretty much a square.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga, no, it's not.
It's a
I-
many sides.
It's a square.
No, not
kind-
square.
Rectangle.
It's got multiple sides.
Multiple sides.
Octagon?
Octagon maybe? Yeah.
Maybe about that many times.
I know
Yeah.
St. Joseph's Church has one that they use.
Oh, the thing in
and,
back. St.
And
Joe's.
Sturbridge, Cedar Street Recreation Area just put one in. One of the scouts helped them put it in. And it's very reasonable and very durable. We're looking at possibly putting it down by the playground, just for the older kids and teens, so they'd have something to do. We're looking at a shuffleball court. We're trying to find a location for that, and also adding picnic tables where needed, both at the football fields and possibly up at Prindle Pond, Prindle Lake. I'd just like to say a thank you, and I know it's been said, there's a lot of volunteers involved in the sports league, softball, little league, basketball, baseball, football, and soccer. These people give their time tirelessly, between the boards that they serve and also the coaches, and to make it a pleasure to work with the leagues and make our jobs a lot easier. Also, I'd like to say a special shout out to our DPW Highway Department and Jim Burlingame, who's hiding over there, for helping to keep the buildings and the fields and everything in great shape. We can't do it alone, so it's great teamwork. Really appreciate it. Our meetings are held once a month on Zoom. You can find our information on the town page. We'd love to have you, chime in and let us know what you think, what you want, as well as maybe joining us in May for upcoming elections. So, thank you.
Thank you, Diane. And
Thank you.
again, you've been a saint over there and really have led from the front. So
It's
always,
fun,
always-
it's fun.
yeah,
I have the time. I
But
have
you've
the
always
time.
kept everything front and center, so people are aware of it. So
Yeah.
again, personal thank you for that.
Yeah, but communication is key too, and Andrew's been wonderful, keeping the board and everything, so it's great.
Any questions, concerns for Diane?
I'm just curious if the vandalism problem has gone away?
It's been better. I'm not saying that too
I
loud.
just
We're looking at putting cameras down by the playground. We just got some electrical issues that we have to iron out, and Jeff's been working on IT, working with us. But it's been better. I think the word is out that we do have cameras in the locations that we have them, as well as solar lights have been added, so at nighttime, the lights go on if somebody goes into the areas. So we do have some extra protection there.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yep.
Cool.
Do you have the pickle boards up already?
The what?
The pickle boards.
Pickleball.
Court.
What about them? I'm sorry.
Are they up now?
They're up.
They did a grand
Yeah,
opening in
The
the
pickleball
summer.
court?
The court, the pickleball court.
Pickleball court.
Yes, it's down at the Charlton Middle School, right behind the school where the fields are. And it is open to the public after school hours only.
There's only one?
There's actually 4.
Yeah.
They took the 2 existing tennis courts and converted them into 4.
Say it's on the paint.
Yeah, that's the new and upcoming thing. Everybody's been trying it out.
Popular.
Yeah. Also, thanks to the school committee for your partnership on that.
Exactly,
It looks great. No,
Yes.
exactly. It was
Yes.
wonderful.
Win-win.
Absolutely.
Kids love it, yeah, that's great.
Yep.
Well, Diane, thank you very much.
Yep.
Next up, Selectwoman Emeritus Walker.
Thank you.
Kathleen, you got 3 minutes. I'm not the chair, which means 20, but that's all right. I'm cautioning you.
He just took 30 of yours, just so you know.
Yeah, it'd be me that would go, go ahead.
So we just celebrated our 127th, 128th year. I never been able to figure that out. I haven't been to, I'm old, but I'm not quite that old, but, of Old Home Day, and this year will be, I think, our 128th year in Charlton. So it's a really special time because it goes way back in history, and people come back for Old Home Day because it brings them back together, brings them back to their childhood, brings them back to old friends. So it's wonderful. This year was it's always great. We had a wonderful award ceremony. Some of the awardees are here. We always would love to get your input, everybody's input, as to who should get the awards every year because we're looking for people that are kind of unsung heroes, heroines, and we want to tell them that we appreciate them and we love them and we want them to continue. So anything you can think of, we'll be looking for those names probably at the beginning of the summer. We had a big problem with laying out the common this year. We had it all, there were about 4 of us laying it all out and we spent about 2 hours, and then we realized that we had done it all wrong, and we had to start all over again. But we have been saved for next year by Andrew.
I'll see.
Everything always goes, who the man? Everything always goes back to him. It's like, it's fun.
Until we start blaming him for everything, he's like, I had nothing to do with
Can you explain
it.
why that happened?
Well,
'Cause
we had a map, but it wasn't to scale.
I know the story, but I'd like to.
So, as far as getting Andrew involved in it?
Yeah.
I heard a rumor that he liked to work with maps, so,
Different conversation.
A little cartographer.
No,
we had a map that we were using, and we thought it was to scale, and it wasn't, and we got halfway through it, and we realized that we had a lot more room, so we had to start all over. It was very confusing, but fun. We spent the whole day there. Anyway, so, but Andrew has agreed to redo that map and make sure that we don't, we only spend 2 hours instead of the whole day laying out the common. The finances, we have a great finance director on the committee this year, and we've done very well. The town has been helpful. However, we still need more money, so we will be back this year for sure, more money, because everything keeps getting more expensive. The fireworks are probably up to $8,000 or $9,000, and they'll probably go up next year. So, and we took that over from the fire department. They all used to do it, and then they gave it up, and we didn't want to lose it, so we took it on. And it was, I think it was $5,000 then, and now it's up, it's almost double. So we need more money. We can only get so much from the. Mike does a great job twisting everybody's arms and threatening to play golf with them. And they usually come across. We have a much closer relationship this year with the road race people. We were kind of separated. They thought things that we thought, they thought, and it was all mixed up. So we got together with a couple of meetings, and we're in sync now, and they're gonna come to our meeting next year. In January, we're gonna start meeting again. And to that end, we could use more members. We had about 20, we've got down to about 17. Mike, Steve is our membership chairperson.
Anybody?
And
I'm gonna let you finish, but go ahead.
We can always use new members. You don't have to be in your 20s, 30s, or 40s. You can be in your 70s, or 80s, or 90s, because a lot of us are still quite vibrant. And we still have, other than remembering a few names, we still have most of our wits about us. So don't hold back because of your age. We've got a great committee, even with 17 people. When Mike and I first started on this committee, there was like 5 of us, so we're happy to have as many as we have. Everybody works really hard and they have fun, so except the chief who tells us where we're going off. So anyway, Steve is the membership chairperson, and he will be looking for, did you want to say something about that?
I do. So I think, there's a lot that I think about this. I think every elected person in town should pick one thing that they really care about and champion that. So a few years ago, what I championed was Old Home Day.
Right.
And then now, and I've been to some of your, my good God, painful meetings where the people are, they're painful. I'm not saying this is an easy job.
Well, that's a resounding thing that we want to.
No,
She's
wait.
coming. Oh dear.
Wait, let me bring it. Some of them are painful because there were way too many people doing, there are way few people doing too many things. So I came back this year and I said, I'll come in as one thing, as membership chairman for the Old Home Day Committee. This is, if we don't do this in the next 3 years, we don't get, we're at 17. If we don't get 25 more people in the next 2 years, there might not be another Old Home Day.
Well,
It's really that disastrous, and that's scary to me. It's not, we can joke around about it as much as we want. But it takes, it doesn't take, it takes a lot of people doing a little bit. Just a couple of things, like, so you show up in the morning and you take care of the race and you do all that, then you go home, then you come back and have fun for the day. There's different things you can do, or the fireworks, you show up for the fireworks, and then you do your thing and you come home for the day, and then you go home for the day. But if it's 17 people staying there for 3 days, that's not practical. It's just not a.
well, we do have different perspectives, that's for sure. I don't share yours.
What's that?
I don't share your perspective.
I was just saying, no, thank you.
No, what's that?
But I
Let's go to Ms.
appreciate it.
Walker, and then I know Jerry has a question.
And I just had a couple more
Please.
things to say. It's not part of the town, but we do have chip-in in this building. And I just wanted to mention that for those who don't know that, the chip-in is here. I'm on that board. We give out boxes of food every month to anybody that needs the food. And they're a vibrant committee, and they raise money, and they're doing a really great job. I mean, I'm loath to be in, that's about all I do, and I keep track of people. What else? Okay, there's just one last thing I want to say. We've all been through a really rough time this past month with the election, the federal election. Some of us are very, very happy, and some of us are very, very unhappy. And I really hope that we can keep that all out there and not in here, because I don't know who's a Republican, who's a Democrat, who's an independent, who's a libertarian, maybe a libertarian in here. And I don't wanna know. I just want us to be able to work together, have a few laughs, get a lot done, and just enjoy life together, because we're a great community. To that end, I help run candidates night, I organize it. Please let me know if you think of any changes you'd like to make. We'll be doing that again this year, probably 2 or 3 weeks before the election. I think that's all I wanted to say. I guess my fear is that the town will become more partisan, and I don't want it to be. I don't want the board of selectmen to be partisan. When I was on the board, I never knew what anybody was. I don't know what their religion is. I don't know how many kids well, I do know how many kids they have, but I don't know what their politics are outside of the town, and I don't wanna know.
No, Captain, very honest, very well said.
Jerry,
did you have something?
Just getting back to Old Home Day. One of the things we're looking at on Old Home Day is we have a committee of 10 to 15, depending how we have that set up. We're also looking at it, just plain volunteers. Now, all you have to do, you don't have to come to the meetings, all you have to do is be available for the Old Home Day days. So maybe you can help with the trash, or you can help with this, that, the other thing. You don't have to come to the meetings, you just have to let us know you're available. And then we can use you for different tasks as we need things done. So it's important, but the point of that is you don't have to come to the meetings or anything else. You just have to show up that 1, 2, or 3 days and help us out, and that's all there is to that. I just wanted to bring that up.
That's a good point, thank you.
That's true.
Jerry, that's a
new
very
thing.
good point, and I apologize for saying that, how terrible those meetings are.
Oh, they can.
Mr. Howard, please.
Yeah.
Some of them can just go long and.
Well,
No, Jerry, you're absolutely right, you're right, but anyone that I ask, I'm 30% commit, they're gonna go. If I reach out to someone and say, hey, oh, I wanna get involved in town, hey,
Well,
all
very
right.
helpful.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Howard.
You don't have to go to the meetings.
Sorry, folks, I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Howard and then Brett.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, this past Labor Day was the first time it was held on a Sunday. I know you
Second.
talked,
Last
Second
year.
time.
Second.
what was that, second
It
time?
was the second time, yeah.
All right, well,
And it was their fault, not ours.
here's the point. Yeah, here's the point. It went extremely well, I thought. I mean, I live right down the street. But the next day was a Monday and there was nothing going on. So I thought maybe it would be a good idea if it was extended 2 days, if the weather was good for the vendors. I mean, because they're the ones that make the game.
Yeah, we had almost 100 vendors this year.
Yeah, but they're all gone Monday.
Wow.
Yeah, and so, but you know what though? But to the point specific, it's also the volunteers. We're at 17, you can't do that for 3 days. So if you have fireworks on Saturday, Old Home Day on Sunday, and then expect, if it rains on Sunday, yeah, then everyone will be there on Monday, but.
I think that's certainly
we
something
don't-
that the committee could think about longer term future, is like, you know, is there a way to put it? But-
We've already brought that up at one of the meetings.
Yep.
There's a question to be discussed in January.
Hey, we get 30 or 40 more people volunteering? Yeah, like you never
Just
know.
see.
Yeah,
Brad, you had a question?
yeah. We'll do Topsfield Fair if we get 50 people.
Oh, I'm sorry, Brad, go ahead.
I'm the younger Mr. Howard in the room.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I just wanted to say thank you to Ed LaFord.
Correct? Yeah.
I don't know who got him to fix the wiring on the common, but without him doing that, it would have been a disaster.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
I have to take credit for that one.
Thank you, Jim.
Oh, that was,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Andrew took an electrical course one day, and it's not all the time. No, but no,
someone stuck a stake through a conduit that cut off half the power of the common.
to everyone on
The day
the
of.
Old Home Day Committee.
No, I think it's a good story.
You know, all the volunteers, everyone, all the vendors, et cetera, whether it be young or old, resident, visitor, it's the highlight of so many people's year. So really, again, deeply appreciated. I mean, it's a nice thing. It's truly a intergenerational event, which I think is great to see every year. So again,
It's free.
And free, good point, thank you all.
Anybody can come and you can bring your kids and you don't have to worry about paying for things unless you want to buy something. But it is free.
That fried dough does me in. Mr. Howard, good.
Yeah, I just had another thought. I think you're charging, what is it, $25 a spot? Because I think the Legion
The
buys 2
vendors, yeah,
spots.
20, if they're nonprofit, it's 25, if they're for-profit, it's 100.
It's how much?
$100 for, if they're for-profit, and $25 if
For
they're either
nonprofit.
a crafter or nonprofit.
All right, well, I was thinking, possibility, charge an extra $5. I mean, there's almost 90 vendors there, and you could pay the kids to help. It's a way of increasing your help for everything.
Yeah. All good ideas.
Thank you, Mr. Howard.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the Old Home Day Committee, more specifically, Selectwoman Emeritus Walker?
Well, maybe if we have more advertisement, not just that flag out there with Old Home Day, you know, maybe.
Well, we were on the radio this year.
Oh, that's good. But,
All right, Mr. Sanborn, what's going on in your corner of the world?
John Sanborn, Chairman of the Board of Health. The board is spending a lot of time still, and there will be for the foreseeable future, with the Flint Road landfill, old landfill, 54 Flint Road. Capping landfill starts next spring. But as a result of the activity there at the landfill, DEP has mandated well testing, and we are now up to 62 houses of testing. So this is either every 3 months or 6 months. And we're working with our engineer, CMG Engineering, to try to get some of these tests reduced so that it's not so much of a burden. But, so 62 houses tested, well tested. Currently, 34 residences are having bottled water delivered on a regular basis. 3 houses have POET systems, that's point of entry treatment systems. And another one is going to be installed. That's when the level of the contamination gets a little too high. So, anyway, things are moving along. The money is all allocated, I believe, so, right, Andrew? Andrew took care of that for us, right?
As insurance, we know, fine money.
Yeah, well, there's other things, but now PFAS is.
PFAS is the one that's.
PFAS is, yeah, the thresholds are so low, it's.
I know our friends at Dudley are having similar issues.
Yeah, and it's not just them, it's gonna be all the other
Yeah, everybody,
towns.
I was gonna say.
I mean, you think we have problems, can you imagine something like Wales or Holland, when, if they start going out and then suddenly you get.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
having to
Oh,
test
no,
them.
no, I know.
They go broke, and that's what's gonna happen. So DEP and EPA and some of the engineers are working to try to find middle ground so that still keep the population safe. But it's, the other thing is too, that they just don't know what type of long-term exposure this does. I mean, definitively to the population. So, anyway, it's a learning experience, but we're working on it.
Can you just tell me the location of most of these people? that are
Sure,
in the bottom line?
yeah, well, that's probably all 3. So the main one obviously is Flint Road, but also there's some Old Town Road, even though it's not that big. And we also have some houses on Dresser Hill Road. So I don't believe there's any on Burlingame Road, but I'm not sure. So anyway, so every time you get a detection at somebody's residence, then DEP mandates, not only do you have to tell them, but you have to go out 500 feet.
I was gonna say, you have to test everyone.
Oh, yeah, so then it grows, it just mushrooms. But I think we're at the point now where, right now, unless there's some new detection that was not detectable before, I think we're gonna be okay. So that's good. Anyway, things are moving along, working hand in hand with DEP. So that's gonna be kind of the main focus of the Board of Health as far as the main agenda item going forward. And then, of course, once the landfill is capped, it'll be 30 years of monitoring minimum with DEP.
30 years.
30 years, yeah, for a landfill. Yep. The Board of Health office was just renovated. I just stopped in, the carpet's in. They got a dedicated office now for Jim Philbrook. New paint, carpet, they took filing cabinets all out. Everything's all digital now, so the folks there are very friendly and helpful. So if you want something, they can just call it up and print it out on the.
And they really are friendly and helpful. Like every time you
Yeah.
go in, they're always smiling, like, hey, how can I help you? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Was that all thanks to Andrew, that
It was grant money, I think, I have it written down as grant money.
Yes, it was through your Regional Health Coalition grant.
Oh, okay, all right. So the Regional Health Coalition, Charlton is the one who is in charge of that. So we are supporting with the Regional Health Inspector, towns of, and I gotta write this down because I always forget, Wales, Sturbridge, Sutton, and Spencer, and obviously Charlton. So we're working with them. It's kind of a way to consolidate and work with them, so if they need some more help on inspections, we've got somebody who can help. They go through Jim Philbrook, and we do get some grant money as a result of that, so it's all good. Just a couple other things. We just got, also through some grant money, something called Purple Air Monitor devices. They're about the size of a softball or so. These are being installed outside of the library and the schools here in town, and you'll be able to monitor them on the internet through an app or whatever, just go on. I'm not even sure what they're gonna be monitoring, but.
See, yeah, that was my question.
Yeah.
But you just gave the answer, yes.
I mean, what is it?
No, air monitoring,
Oh,
so,
air.
so it's pollution, you know.
Okay.
I don't know if they're gonna be doing pollen or anything, I honestly don't know, it just came up the last meeting, so. Jim's
But they're
working.
putting them up, we got a grant, so they're putting them up.
Yeah.
I thought it was more hazardous, humid days, high pollen, you know,
Yeah, it's
don't, if
probably-
you're ugly, don't go outside, that those type of, I thought it was that, but while we're putting them in front of the schools, yeah. But anyway, that's me.
One last thing, I know nobody wants to talk about COVID, but there's free COVID test kits available at the Board of Health office.
Actually, that's good to know, because I know that with all the strains, especially if you're getting the flu season and such, that people want that, so that's actually very helpful, thank you.
And actually, you don't even have to stop by if somebody's not in there. I think they're right outside of the window, so you
Oh, that's
just-
great.
I think they want you to limit it to 2 per person, but if other boards want some, you can stop by and get some, or just, wave your hand and one of the folks will come by and take care of you, so.
Thanks, John, I really appreciate that. Questions for Mr. Sanborn? Hearing none, John, thank you, and thank Jim and the staff as always.
I will.
Deputy Chief Corio, not to put you on the spot, anything that you think of? I mean, feel free to say no, I just wanted to.
No, thank you. My name is Scott Corio, Deputy Chief of the Fire Department. Obviously, one of the biggest things this past year has been the approval of the substation. I'd like to thank Andrew for that. Along with everyone, the Board of Selectmen.
It's like I did nothing right.
And all of the voters as well. It is something that we really did desperately need, and it's going to benefit the town at the end of the day. The only other thing that I wanted to mention, just so that everyone knows that Chief Knopf will be retiring on December 23rd. That will be his last day as chief of the department, so just to let everyone be aware of that. That's all I have to report.
Thanks, Deputy Chief.
Thank you.
Questions for the Deputy Chief? Oh,
Yes.
Have there been any wildfires in our town?
So in our town, we have not had any large wildfires. We have had some small ones, thank God, and they've been contained. They have not been under windy conditions to let them get too large. We have had illegal burns. There are no outdoor legal burning at this point of time because of the weather. We have had to go to other communities to help them because of the situations that they've been in. So we have been busy with wildfires and just illegal burns happening within the town.
thanks, Scott. Chief Dowd, anything you want to?
A couple quick things. One of the things the police department oversees is the animal control officer. She's currently out with maternity with a second child. Appreciate Kelly Flynn always stepping up when Emily's unavailable. A lot of improvements to the building. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Highway for doing the site work, Baypath for doing the masonry. For transparency purposes, the fire department didn't help at all.
You're welcome.
Appreciate all that. That's one of those. As far as the police department overall, we've made a lot of strides. We really concentrated the last few years on some expensive projects regarding the building itself, the roof and tying in the water and all those things that needed to get done. But typically, when you do something, something has to give. But we've made some improvements in the other ends as far as our staffing level is adequate. We've never been as well staffed as we are now. I believe there's a proper command structure in place which better reflects how things that need to get done. Our equipment is improved and our fleet has never been better. So there's a lot of positives. I'd like to, if I have any remaining time, I'd just like to criticize the fire department.
Oh, please do.
So then, Dan, so what you're saying is, everything is great, so in May, there's no major request we could expect?
Yeah, we're in contract negotiations, so I'm sure there's going to be requests. But we're actually in a good position. If their only criticism at the PD is me, I feel like I'm doing something right. They're not complaining about equipment or staffing, it's me. So I'll take that all day long.
The police and fire are both those things that you don't want to see, but you're very happy when you see it. And it's one of those things that, again, the old adage, these guys run into danger, well, like we're running out of it. And that's why I think a majority of the Board of Selectmen, if not in its entirety, along with Andrew, I hate to say it, really, and obviously the voters, we want to thank everyone for supporting public safety. Again, I think that first and foremost is a town's responsibility. So again, kudos to your teams, but again, thank you to the voters. Mr.
Yeah, I want to thank the town, especially for the crossing signals that are in place. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't pay attention to them, so you know, you take your life into your hands until it's clear.
No, you're right.
And additionally, I didn't realize the fire chief was retiring, so I'm glad to hear, I'm glad you passed that on. And also, Dr. Devine, I don't know how many people, he's been here for years. He's leaving the 30th of November, going to California, so I don't know if everybody knew that.
Oh, thanks for that, Mr. Howard, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Any other questions for the chief? Oh, please
Yeah,
don't.
a real quick one.
Hopefully it's an easy one.
Well, it might not
Who's
because
your
it's
favorite
something no
selectman?
one wants to hear, but I'm just curious of the status of the facility itself. Is that something we may need to look in the future towards?
Our really only problem is the time, but that's a good problem to have. You know, anybody would like more room, but like the comedian Stephen Wright said, you can't have everything, where would you put it? So, in a perfect world, I can't have like a Taj Mahal like these guys.
Right.
It's 30 years old, it looks good because it's in decent shape, but it's a little tiny. But overall, it's a good building, made a lot of improvements, the heating system, the roof, tying into, I guess they got tired of toxic water, and Russ helped tremendously running a water line there, so much appreciated.
All in, yeah.
Jerry or Brad?
Yeah, roof, new air conditioning, new heating, yeah. New toilets, new stalls, new, yeah.
Body cameras.
It's pretty much a brand new police station, I would think. Maybe a little small, but.
Stay in the left corner. Brad or Jerry, you guys have anything?
I'm all set.
Brad, you good? Cool.
Even with the fire. The
I was-
Guys are the best.
Thanks, guys. Going right-hand corner. Kathy, anything that you want to opine on?
We've been out there, we're found, our tax rate was set within 24 hours at 11/13 last week and the week before, thanks to the entire board and Andrew, of course. It was very timely. But we are out measuring houses quite a bit right now. Kelsey and I are out there. We're about 1,500 houses out of compliance. We have to visit them once every 10 years. So if you see us out there, then that's what we're doing. We have to kind of come by and say, hey, here's what you're paying taxes on. Is this accurate? I have one of the police cars, the old police cars now that we get to drive around. So if you see that in your driveway, then that's us.
And again, the Board of Selectmen, to your point, we set, also based upon recommendations, the Board of Assessors and Kathy, we set that tax rate, so everything's good to go. That's an annual thing, so again, that's a public hearing. And that's really the big one, is where we say a uniform tax rate as opposed to a split. So if anyone has concerns about that over the next year, obviously speak up to the Board of Selectmen and we'll figure it out. But Kathy, thank you for, as always, for the presentations that you give. It makes everyone's life a lot easier. Any other questions, Ms. Stanley? No. Mr. Burlingham, our second most popular person at the moment, apparently.
I'm Jim Burlingham, Cemetery and Facilities Director for the town. The facilities end I was promoted this year with that. So on the cemetery side, everything's pretty much status quo. Not a whole heck of a lot going on over there. Fall maintenance operations are pretty much winding down to a close. We should be done with that hopefully before Thanksgiving holiday, which would be good. All our fall leaf cleanup and clean up of all the graves and so forth. Get ready for the next venture, which would be winter and snow removal and digging graves in cold conditions, which is not always the easiest, but we always get it done. So that pretty much is on the cemetery side. Facilities, town hall, we're in the process of doing some security windows. 2 of them were completed in the conservation and building office. We're looking at doing some new installs for the town clerk's office as well as the selectman's office, and also bringing the tax collector, treasurer collector's office, and the assessor's office into compliance with ADA accessibility. So I met with the contractor today, get some preliminary pricing. We're going to get a scope of services in place. Andrew and I are going to work on that and try to get that out for it. So as for that, just working with the various department heads and boards, helping them out, trying to streamline everything on the facility side, trying to make it, try to get some sanction, so to speak, in the organization, try to get a handle on all these things and help out where we can.
Thank you, I really appreciate everything you've been doing since your recent promo, shall we say.
Hit the ground running.
Exactly. Any questions, Mr. Burley? Ms. Walker?
I just wanted to commend you on the way our cemeteries look. We've been in cemeteries trudging around looking for ancient relatives in Ireland, and we're lucky we don't sprain our ankles, but the cemeteries here are great. And my old Irish mother would always say when we drove by a cemetery, everybody's always dying to get in there.
For sure. I gotta give my staff credit for that. The transition process has been great. They've been really keeping up. In my absence of being out in the field, they've done a tremendous job making the place look as good as the level I like to have it at.
It's
So
great, really, all of it, yeah.
they're working out well.
Yeah, Jim, well done as always. So last but certainly not least, our friends from up on the hill.
Thank you. Kyle Browning, Superintendent at Bay Path Regional Vocational Technical High School. I wasn't supposed to be here, but our policy subcommittee meeting got out early, and I brought with us, or came here before me, Dean Packard, our principal, and Mr. Tripp, our director of Career Vocational Technical High School, and they can go over a few things that have been running extremely well up at the school.
So what I want to say is, it was 1977, 8 cents for my milk when I got it here, and I went through there when I was in 4th grade, so going way back in time. Charlton's a beautiful place, and every time I come here, Senior Center, whether it's Chippin, things you guys do are absolutely amazing. At Bay Path, we just want to say to you guys, minimum local contribution is where we're at for maximum results. We pride ourselves on the ability to look at our finances and provide the highest standard of academic excellence and vocational excellence for all of our students. Last year was my first year there after spending 30 years in Dudley Charlton. The work that the school committee members do is absolutely outstanding. The advocacy for kids and for what they need in a time where the funding it just isn't there is really hard. And I commend the selectmen and do what you guys do to make it work for the town. It's really big. My first year at Bay Path was all about listening and learning. We were able to put together our strategic plan from 2024 to 2027 last spring after we kind of went through a wholesale I don't want to say change, but some updates. And I want to recognize the teaching staff at Bay Path as well as the paraprofessionals and everybody that's involved with Bay Path as a school. We changed our school information system. We transferred from a Microsoft school to a Google school. We brought in a new assessment progress monitoring devices that we're utilizing. We went to a one-to-one initiative for our students. And all the while, we asked our teachers and our staff to be able to maintain the integrity of what they were doing, and they did that. Change is never easy, no matter what you do or who you are. So we are extremely excited for the next 3 years. I want to publicly thank Danny Dowd, Gary Mason, Dennis Carlson, who was here earlier, for their commitment to us. We have crisis planning that is ongoing. Superintendent LaMarche, we have the principals from Dudley and Charlton, all come to the table together, and we talk about crisis, what it means, how can we support one another during those times. We hope that we never see it, but we're always measured by how we plan ahead to ensure that we are prepared for anything that comes our way. We have a robust evening edition of the schooling that we have. We have multiple kids from Charlton that take part in the day and in the night classes. We have just been blessed with a lab modernization grant for over $700,000 to put in a diesel program, which we're very excited about. We have 22 vocational programs. Students start exploratory programs right when they start coming in. We have 37 new students as of last year that came in from Charlton. We graduated 47 from Charlton. I mean, it's a hub. It just never stops. So we're in the business of changing lives for kids, just like we are, whether you're in Dudley Charlton or either Bay Path or wherever we are. And it takes a village to make it happen. So we want to say thank you. Thank you for your support. We hope to see you up at the Hillside Restaurant. It's one of the greatest restaurants. It's a hidden gem. You can't get a prime rib for $14 anywhere else. Okay, and the service from kids, that is absolutely amazing. Not only that, our auto tech, automotive, we service a lot of individuals in towns. Cosmetology, graphics, everything. We got so many things that are going on up
I
there.
saw the new, I don't know, call it a raffle, but for the new home.
Yes, we just finished. We
Yeah,
finished the building project in Spencer last year. We're in Dudley this year. Now we're looking again for somebody within our 10 surrounding towns. So again, we're always doing something that makes the community better. So our partnership with Charlton, the radio tower that just went in, thanks to Andrew. Only kidding. But again, whatever we can do to partner and build those bridges to make stronger communities, that's what Bay Path is all about. So thank you very much, Superintendent Brenner. Did I miss anything?
No, you covered everything. Great job on that.
Vocational Director Tripp, did I miss anything?
Mr. Tripp, you have anything to add?
We'll talk about CTI for a moment.
So briefly, Career Technical Initiative that we're offering at Bay Path is targeted towards underemployed or unemployed adults. So that's folks who make $46,000 or under a year. Essentially, we're offering 6 programs, so automotive collision, sheet metal, HVAC, culinary arts, I'm missing
Advanced manufacturing.
advanced manufacturing,
And building property maintenance.
building and property maintenance, thank you, Superintendent Brenner. Essentially giving them 200 hours of training in a program area. They graduate, whether it's an interview or a job, we partner with local employers. They also obtain industry recognized credentials, whether that's on top of OSHA. Could be an ASE credential, or an ICAR credential in auto collision, for example, or a ServSafe credential in culinary arts. So we are, again, targeting more than just the high school students. We're aiming to elevate all of those in the community.
Tuition free, that 200
Yes,
hours of
free.
training is tuition free in all 6 of those programs.
That's all grant funded as well.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
so
that's really
I-
good.
Actually, I have
Go, Steve.
So Dean, when my son was in Charlton Middle School, you were always a rambunctious, fun guy but now, when I see you on Facebook, you are having the time of your life. You're
My heart's in Dudley
exactly
Charlton. I just want you to know that.
You're
I'm still
exactly
here.
where you belong. You can tell you love it. Your podcast and all the other things you're doing, it's perfect.
Well, we have one shot with kids, we always do, and I'll tell you, if we don't make the best of it, shame on us. There's one thing I didn't bring up that I just want to make sure I bring everybody in the room up to speed. Facilities, our field, if I get another email about how bad our field is and what we need to do, turf, yeah, there's a high cost to that. We are structurally looking in right now to tie in for some irrigation to make our field, solid from a regular turf standpoint, which makes sense to me. And as players, if you look at the research for players and athletes, you have less injuries on a grass turf than you do on the synthetic turf. So if we can shy away from the $8 million, $9 million to put a turf in and really get our field up to where it needs to be. And that might mean tying into an existing well that's underneath that's sitting dormant at this point in time for a sprinkler system, things of that nature, because we can't put chemicals onto a lawn without water. Rain hasn't cooperated with us the last 2 months. So it's a dust bowl right now. And again, a lot of kids use that field.
Oh, I didn't know it was a dust bowl.
Well, it is. We just haven't had any precipitation. So it's tough. And our teams are doing outstanding, by the way. We have another state vocational championship game on Friday night, girls soccer, girls basketball. So everything's being elevated, which is nice, and we're really showcasing the talent of kids and what they do. We stream all of our home games. It's just we're on the cutting edge of doing things that I think are important for kids and families.
Now, Mr. Chair, Principal Patrick, Superintendent Brenner, I think, again, I personally just want to say thank you for your continued outreach, both to the local governments, but also as just well to the community. I think that's a huge win for all of us. I mean, granted, I kind of keep my ear to the ground and hear what people are saying, and not detracting from prior administrations, but I know the past couple of years, or year and a half now, Dean, since you've been talking about, there's a certain buzz and excitement about the transformation that you're bringing up there, so very well done. And
we call it turbulence.
Hey, whatever. I like disruption.
Disruption is even better. It's good for all of us. I'm remiss in not saying this. Our academics have increased through the state standardized testing over 20%. We put systems in place. We looked at what we're doing, how we're teaching kids, what that learning looks like, that student engagement. All those things are important to us. We want to make sure kids enjoy being in school, and that's really the center and the focus of what we do.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks,
Well,
Steve.
Absolutely.
Questions for our friends? Oh, I'm sorry.
Shameless plug. Our Thanksgiving bake sale is next week, I think Wednesday.
Is that how you funding the field, is it?
And we wish. And then we have our Santa's breakfast on December 7th.
Oh, thanks, Superintendent. Jerry, you had something?
Just a quick comment on your grass fields.
Yep.
Sounds crazy. I played soccer for many years, and if I play on a plastic one, I come home with rug burns all over the place. If you play on grass, you're it's just much more comfortable, especially a good field. I played in mud too. A good field like that is much easier on your legs and everything else, so I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you for that. One other thing, if you have time to check out our website, we have a student-run website that is as interactive as it can be. And then one other thing I neglected to tell you is it's through the benevolence of our Bay Path Ed Foundation, we're looking to bring in esports. If anybody knows what esports is, it is a vibrant opportunity for kids in the gaming field that allows a group of individual students that might be in the school to go into something that is just competitive, the scholarships. When I say there's something for everybody, there's something for everybody, and that's what our #1 goal is.
Absolutely. Ms. Covington.
No, I just want to make sure to thank you for providing our middle school students the ability to come
this summer through your grant program and experience. I know that my son went and had a great time with a lot of his friends, but I know there's a lot of kids that went from both our towns. We
Thanks for that
appreciate
feedback. Yeah, we're so happy to do that. We continue to look to grant funding to continue that program in the future.
Excellent. Any additional questions for our friends from Baypath?
Yeah, one quick thing. You expressed the need to,
Interested in working with the senior center for any partnering opportunities, I'd be very excited about that.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah.
I bet there's honors programs where they need hours to be able to do that. Yeah, of course, even at Shepherd Hill. Yeah.
And then there's Sage Learning programs where the kids interview the seniors and write stories about the senior and things of that nature as well. So it can go both ways as well. Yeah.
And also special thanks to both DCRSD and Baypath for your student representatives to the Board of Selectmen. They've already hit the ground running and looking forward to working with them over the next X amount of months. That's great.
So,
Please go.
Kurt Meskis isn't here. But if he were, I could call him to adjourn. And you have made it to exactly 8 o'clock, which is really, how did you do that?
Max feels busy.
I did that 2 years ago.
Yeah, honestly, it was Andrew. It was Andrew.
You said the same thing. I can't believe it, 7:59.
But in all sincerity, thank you all for attending. For those who will watch this at home later,
It is.
appreciate it. This is really one of our best opportunities to speak amongst ourselves around our strategic plans, our operational issues, et cetera, and try to work together to try to solve problems. This is fantastic. Look forward to watching you all next year. And with that, motion to adjourn from somebody.
Second.
Stephen?
All in favor?
Aye. Yes. Yes. All in favor. We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.